What's up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. This is my Draftkings MMA picks video for UFC Vegas 32. We have Corey Sandhagen going against the return of TJ Dillashaw, and what a phenomenal main event it is, and what a phenomenal card in general. I talked about it on my full card prediction video. We have fights like Punahele Soriano, Brendan Allen on the prelims, fights like Adrian Yanez, Randy Costa on the prelims. Both fights should probably be on the main card, but the main card's stacked as well. We have Kyler Phillips, Julian Paiva, Aspen Lab, Macy Chiazon, of course, the main event, Miranda Maverick, Macy Barber. I think this card's phenomenal and really looking forward to it from a DFS perspective as well. So before we get into the video, if you guys can leave a like, as always, it is much appreciated, and also subscribe to the channel if you have not yet, so you're not miss out on the content throughout the week. I did my full card breakdown and prediction video on Tuesday. I'm going live on Friday, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, as always, and then on Saturday, 1 hour prior to when the prelim start, I'll be going live as well. So lots of content coming your guys' way. Do leave a like, really do appreciate all the support week in and week out. So I said we'll start the video with the fight doesn't go to decision lines. As always, we have Punahele Soriano going against Brendan Allen. Minus 260, fight doesn't go to decision, and this fight is 8,200 for Soriano and 8,000 for Brendan Allen. It is a classic example of a striker versus a grappler, and I'm kind of more on the Soriano side personally, but I'm going to have a ton of this fight. This fight is probably going to finish one way or another. I believe Brendan Allen thus far in the UFC has been to decision only once against Kyle Dawkins, and Soriano has been to decision only once in his entire career. That was on the Contender Series against Jamie Pickett. So typically when Soriano wins fights, it is in the first round. I think it's like 7 first round knockout win, or not first round knockout wins, first round wins in general. Has a few submissions mixed in there as well. And Allen is very dangerous. So this is a fight where I do like both sides. For me, I'm more personally on the Soriano side, but it's really hard to get away from the Allen side as well. Has a ton of upside. Both guys, finishers, 88% finish rate for Soriano and an 87% finish rate for Allen. Allen has been finishing half of his losses as well. Of course, Soriano undefeated, never lost. So yeah, this is a fight that I want to have a ton of exposure. 8,200, 8,000. It's really hard to see the winner of this fight not on the optimal lineup, so I'm going to be highly exposed to this fight as a whole. And next we have same thing. Adrian Yanez going against Randy Costa, another fight that I do think is going to finish. We have the fight doesn't go decision line at minus 240. It did open up around like minus 210, but money's been flowing in on that, and for a very good reason. So not only has Randy Costa never been to decision, he's never been to the third round, and he's never been over that 1.5 mark as well. I looked it up, and his total career has been like 12 minutes total for his entire career. This guy is somebody that has, I think, like 4 of his wins under a minute, a ton of wins in the first round, all of his wins in the first round, if that, and his one loss did come against Brandon Davis, and that was the only fight he did get outside of the first round. Yeah, this fight's going to finish. I think this fight's going to finish one way or another, whether it is Costa early or Yanez. I think it could be early, or I think if this fight does get extended, it's really going to favor the Yanez side. As far as, making a pick, I do like the Yanez side, but Randy Costa at 7,200 is a pretty solid pump play as well. So another fight where I really do like targeting both sides, but for me, I'm more so on the Yanez side myself. But Costa at 7,200, he's going to fight for your money. He's a very good pump play. If he does win, there's a good chance it's early in that first round as well. All right, next we have the main event. Corey Sandhagen going against TJ Dillashaw. Minus 210, fight doesn't go to decision, a fight where I'm probably going to be, nearly 100% exposed. I think this fight's going to score very well. Just the activity of both guys. Sandhagen lands nearly 7 significant strikes per minute. Dillashaw about 5.5 per minute. And I think Dillashaw can mix in the takedowns as well. He does average about 1.7 takedowns per 15 minutes, and Sandhagen has a 30% takedown accuracy. So we'll talk about it a little bit later, but in terms of the pricing, Sandhagen 8,800, Dillashaw 7,400. I think there's a lot of value on the Dillashaw side, especially on Draftkings as well. And I will be having a lot of Dillashaw. But Sandhagen, he's been on a roll, back-to-back knockout wins. I do think he's the real deal. So I have a lot of Sandhagen. I like this fight as a whole in general. But yeah, the price on Dillashaw, 7,400, it really does have me intrigued as like a live dog. And then Darrick Minner going against Darren Elkins. I do want to go to the finish rates for this one, and we have a crazy finish rate for Darrick Minner, an 89% finish rate out of 37 fights. I believe he's only won a couple decisions, 85% submission rate, 4% by knockout, and Minner has been finished in 10 out of his 11 fights, 8 by submission, 2 by knockout. There's a very good chance that somebody does get finished here. I'm thinking it's either Minner early or Elkins late. Minner is very, very dangerous, but typically you look throughout his career, and he's a killer-be-killed fighter. Either he does get that early first-round submission, or he gasses out and gets submitted himself. So a fight that I really do want exposure to this fight on DraftKings. I think Minner has a ton of upside. I think he has first-round upside, but on the flip side, if Elkins does survive that early storm, I think he's very live for a finish himself. So going to have a ton of ownership on pretty much all 4 of these fights. I love all 4 of these fights. I'm going to target all 4 of them quite heavily. All right, so getting into our core plays, Sijara Eubanks, 9,300. So this is going to be the easiest fight in her UFC career thus far, and you take a look at her record. She is 6-6, but she is fighting some very good competition. She has wins over fighters like Roxanne Modafferi, Lauren Murphy. She has losses over fighters like Aspen Ladd. She won over Julia Avila as well. Lost to Pani Kienzad, and this is just going to be the easiest fight thus far in her UFC career. And not saying that Elise Reed is bad or anything, because I think she's decent. It's just this is a huge step down in competition from the fighters she has been fighting. So you take a look at Reed, and on some of her fights, she's getting taken down very easily. She's getting put into a ton of bad spots on the mat, and we know that Eubanks is a legit BJJ black, but I think she's going to have a lot of success. The only thing that kind of concerns me is Eubanks is going to be coming down a weight class to 125. I want to make sure the weight cut is looking good and all that. If I'm going to go very heavy on her, which I am planning on doing so, but in this fight, I think she has a ton of takedown upside. I think she has finish upside as well. I think she's like plus 115 to win inside the distance, something crazy like that. And I definitely kind of see it that way. I think she's a very good chance to finish Reed here, who Reed's taking a massive step up in competition. And just seeing her getting taken down by lower level fighters, seeing her coming up from 115, going to be the much smaller fighter in this fight. I think Eubanks is going to have a ton of success. And with the wrestling and the grappling, which that does score well. So give me Eubanks here, 9,300. I like it quite a bit. Getting into the next fight here, we have Adrian Yanez, 9,000. The thing is, I do think he's the better fighter in this fight. The problem is, Randy Costa is extremely dangerous. But if he can survive those first couple minutes, if he can survive that first round, I 100% think he's going to get a finish himself. Adrian Yanez, great finisher, 77% finish rate. Has never been finished, and that's pretty important. In his 16-fight career, he has never been knocked out, and he's never been submitted. He supposedly is a BJJ black belt. We never really get to see that unless he is off his back. I've seen him get submissions off his back, but I don't really expect him to go out here and get takedowns against Costa. I do expect it to be a stand-up war, and I expect somebody to get finished. I'm more so leaning towards the honest side, but this is a very dangerous fight for him. But I do think he's a better fighter. I do think he has more past the victory, and if he can survive that early storm of Costa, I do think he wins. So going to have a ton of this fight in general, but I am more so on the honest side. I think he does get a finish in that second or third round. Next fighter, we have Punahele Soriano, 8,200. A fight you're going to want to target. I'm going to have a lot, again, of both sides here, a lot of both sides, but I do like Soriano a little bit more just due to the fact that this guy has a ton of power, and Brendan Allen is extremely hittable. Brendan Allen has a negative significant strike differential of 0.84. That's never a good sign. And then he has a 39% striking defense, so he's very hittable. I know he's making improvements, but still very hittable, and you do not want to be hittable against a guy that hits like an absolute truck in Punahele Soriano. And I do think that Soriano does stuff the takedowns. That's kind of the question mark I have, is we haven't really seen anybody at all shoot a takedown on Soriano in the UFC. I've seen him stuff a takedown here or there on the regional scene, but that's kind of the big question here. If Allen can't get this fight down to the mat, I do think he can have success. It's just, Soriano, state champion wrestler in high school. He did wrestle D3 as well, judo brown belt. So I do think he has the credentials to keep this on the mat, training at a very good camp in Extreme Couture as well. I do think they'll have him prepared to stuff these takedowns. And if it is on the feet, which I do expect it to be, I think Soriano has a very good chance of getting a knockout. Like I mentioned, 7 first-round finishes for Punahele Soriano as well. So there's a good chance if Soriano does win, it is in that first round. It's just there's question marks about his takedown defense. If Allen does get this fight down to the mat, I'm sure he'll have a ton of success, and that's why I do like Allen as well, and I will have some exposure to Allen as well. But for me personally, I do like the Soriano side. Next, we have Ian Heinisch, 8,500. This one's interesting and kind of a tricky one because we take a look at Ian Heinisch and his UFC career, and this is going to be one of the easiest fights, to be honest, of his UFC career. This is a huge step down in competition, fighting guys like Darrick Brunson, just got a fight with Kelvin Gastelum as well, and just fighting very, very good guys. And now he's going against Nasruddin Imavov, who really can't stuff a takedown. I've seen him taken down multiple times. He was taken down 4 times by Phil Hawes. I've seen him taken down on the regional scene as well. And he has a very good get-up game, which only is going to add to the takedown amount of Heinisch. I think Heinisch, to win this fight, he's going to need to come in here with a takedown-heavy approach. If he doesn't, it definitely could be trouble. So I do expect him to come in here with a good game plan, mixing in the takedowns, getting control time as well. Phil Hawes had something crazy, like 11 minutes of control time against Nasruddin Imavov. I think Ian Heinisch can implement the same game plan. He's really relentless with his wrestling as well. And again, this is a big step down in competition. So I do like Ian Heinisch. I think with this new DraftKings scoring system, with the takedowns, the control time, although he has not scored all that well outside of maybe one fight against Gerald Meerschaert where he got that first round knockout, you kind of take a look at who he's been fighting, and I do think this is a step down from who he's been fighting, and I do think he can score very well if he does come in here with a great game plan, and I do expect him to. So I do like Ian Heinisch, kind of a sneaky play. I don't know how many people are going to be on him, especially if they do look at the score logs and see that, hey, this guy's not scoring too well. But you also got to look at he's facing Darrick Brunson with the 94% takedown defense. He's facing Kelvin Gastelum with a very good takedown defense. He's facing Omari Akhmedov with a very good takedown defense. Guys like that, and I don't think Nasruddin Imavov has the best takedown defense in the world. So I'll take Ian Heinisch. Don't hate him in cash, and tournaments pretty solid as well for the takedown upside. All right, getting into our GPP plays here, our tournament plays, Darrick Minner, 8,600. It's a Darrick Minner fight. You're going to want to play it on DraftKings. Like I said, killer be killed. Outside of his last fight against Charles Rosa, where he did the unthinkable. He won a decision, which he typically does not do. But I kind of think that was more so of Charles Rosa, A, not having a great takedown defense, and B, not having a great get-up game, or really making an effort to get up, kind of just throwing up submissions off his back, which that's going to be the opposite of what Darren Elkins does. So Darren Elkins is going to make Minner work. Of course, Minner is very live for that first round finish, but if he does not get that, I do think he could be in some serious trouble. So that's why I wouldn't really go there in cash for Minner. More of a tournament play for me, because I do think if he wins, it's going to be in the first round. I think Minner has, I think it was like 22 or 23 first round finish wins. So, yeah, I mean, he's going to, more often than not, if he does win, it's going to finish in the first round. Only like 2 or 3 decisions on his record as well. So give me Minner here, 8,600 as a tournament play for that first round upside. Corey Sandhagen, 8,800. I like it. I like the main event as a whole. I don't know what I'm going to do with my ownership here yet, because Sandhagen, honestly, I don't really love the price. I think if he wins, there's a good chance he does find the optimal lineup. It's just seeing TJ Dillashaw at 7,400, having a savings of 1,400. It just doesn't really make sense to me. I know there's question marks with TJ Dillashaw coming off of a pretty big layoff, coming off of a PED suspension. He is now 35 years old, but if TJ Dillashaw shows up and it's the TJ Dillashaw of 2017, of 2018, I think this fight's going to be very competitive, especially with Dillashaw mixing in the takedowns and exploiting that Sandhagen 30% takedown defense. So I do like both sides here. I'm more so from a DraftKings perspective looking at Dillashaw in terms of ownership, because he's going to be a ton cheaper. He's going to allow you to go up and get your Sijara Eubanks. He's going to allow you to go up and get your Adrian Yanez, guys like that. So I don't hate TJ Dillashaw at 7,400, which we'll talk about more, but Sandhagen, 8,800, you definitely got to look at him. Dillashaw, if he is coming back, if he is a little bit rusty, he's now 35 years old. Sandhagen's been looking phenomenal, back-to-back knockouts. I do think he could put Dillashaw's lights out, so I do like both sides. But in terms of ownership, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it yet, but I might be having more exposure to the Dillashaw side for the takedown upside, and just the price in general I think is pretty crazy. Aspen Ladd, 8,900, kind of a sneaky play here. I think she's going to be extremely low owned, because you have around her Adrian Yanez, you have around her Corey Sandhagen, and Ladd, when she wins, she scores pretty decent. She gets takedowns, and I do think she can exploit the takedown defense of Macy Chase on here, who was taken down 2 times by Marion Renault. Renault is able to control her for a couple minutes. Really not a good look. I mean, 44-year-old Marion Renault able to do that to you. And then she was able to be taken down by Lena Landsberg, and Landsberg controlled her for 8 minutes of that fight. So if those fighters are doing that to Jason, and I know she's probably going to be making improvements, but Aspen Ladd's takedowns are very good wrestling, very good top control, and very good ground and pound as well. She has a 75% takedown accuracy thus far in the UFC, just phenomenal numbers. I think if she does, come back, she is taking a big layoff. She is coming off some injuries. If she does come back and looks like the Aspen Ladd of a couple years ago, I think there's a very good chance that she not only wins, but she scores very good and at very low ownership as well. So give me Aspen Ladd 8,900. Kyler Phillips, 9,200. Should be a really fast-paced fight. I do like him to win here. I think he can mix in takedowns as well. Paiva's been taken down in every single fight in the UFC and on Contender Series, outside of Mark De La Rosa, who does have a 13% takedown offense or takedown accuracy. And Paiva's very hittable. Paiva does have a negative significant strike differential, which you definitely don't like to see. 0.43 significant strike differential and only a 51% strike and defense for Paiva. The problem I'm having is, will Kyler Phillips finish this fight or not? I'm kind of leaning towards a Kyler Phillips pretty dominant decision here, which, again, could score well, takedowns, control time, tons of strikes as well. So I do like Phillips, but I do like Eubanks and Yanez a little bit more, but I think Phillips is definitely a fine play. Miranda Maverick going against Macy Barber. Again, a fight that I do like to target here. Maverick, very high volume, 2-fight sample thus far, but she is averaging 6 significant strikes per minute. This is going to be the best striker she has faced thus far, though, by a significant margin. This is not Jillian Robertson. This is not Luana Jojua, but I do think she can also mix in the takedowns as well. She has very good wrestling, very good grappling, and if she can get on Barber, I do think she'll have a lot of success. And overall, I think the fight's going to be very fast-paced, very high-scoring, so I do like Maverick. 8,400. She has been scoring well thus far in the UFC. I believe she scored 98 points in her last fight against Jillian Robertson. I think she has a really high ceiling here, maybe 90, 100-point upside in a decision. Don't know if she finishes Barber in this fight, but I do think she can score well with the takedowns, with the control time, and with a ton of significant strikes, all that good stuff. So I do like Maverick at 8,400 quite a bit. All right, getting into our live dogs here, we have Brendan Allen, who is 8,000. If the fight's going to finish, if Allen can't get this fight down to the mat, I think he could probably get a submission. It's just kind of a big if or a big question mark for me. I do think this fight is going to be primarily played standing. At that point, Allen has made some improvements in the striking, but still, you do not want to strike with Punahele Soriano. So I don't hate Allen. I think if he does get those takedowns, he will have success. It's just kind of hard to see him going there. But hey, it's definitely possible. So I do like Allen. I will have quite a bit of him. But me personally, I'm more on the Soriano side. Darren Elkins, 7,600. I think he's very live for a finish. All he has to do is survive that first round. Minner did show an improved gas tank in his last fight, but I do think that was more so of Charles Rosa being Charles Rosa. And I think Elkins is going to make Minner work, unlike Charles Rosa. And Minner has slowed down in pretty much every single fight outside of that Rosa fight. So if Elkins can survive that early storm, I do think Elkins is live for a finish himself. TJ Dillashaw, 7,400. Yeah, like I said, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the ownership yet, but 7,400 in a fight that, if he does come back looking like the Dillashaw of old, this fight's going to be very close, very competitive, and I do like that takedown upside he has against Sandhagen, who has a very poor takedown defense. So Dillashaw is definitely somebody I'm looking at for underdog upside here at that price tag. Huge savings off of Sandhagen. I'm going to have a decent amount of Dillashaw and a decent amount of the main event in general. But again, I don't know what I'm doing with my ownership yet, or if I'm even going 100% own on the fight. I think might do like something like 50-40 in terms of Dillashaw, 45-35 in terms of Dillashaw. It's just really hard to pass up that price tag for Dillashaw. When he wins, he scores very, very well also. So, I think it's a good spot for Dillashaw, at least on a DK perspective. From like a pure pick standpoint, I'm going to pick Sandhagen because of the question marks, but if he does come back and he looks anything like he did of a few years ago, I think this fight's going to be very competitive. Diana Belbita, 7,900. First fight of the night, which typically I do like to target. This one, I'm not going to have much ownership to, honestly. Belbita, she's just a live dog that I think can win, and we do see a ton of line movement. I think the line's about to flip here. It is a straight pick 'em right now. So Belbita, decent finish rate, 77%. She's going to have a really big size advantage as well. She's going to be 3 inches taller and going to have like a 7.5 reach advantage as well. She's mean. She throws a ton of strikes. She looks for the finish. So maybe she does go out here and surprise a lot of people, including me, and get this finish. But I do expect the fight to more than likely be kind of a low-scoring fight. But hey, she's a decent finisher. Of course, a lot of those were against some very questionable competition. But she does go after it. I think she can mix in takedowns as well. So I don't hate her at 7,900. Just another live underdog. And it's the first fight of the night as well. I think she's going to be very low owned. Pump plays, Randy Costa. Yeah, this fight's going to finish. Costa's going to go out there and he's going to fight for your money. He's going to fight for your money, trying to take off Yanez's head in that first round. It's just a lot of question marks with Costa in that gas tank. The one time we did see him get past that first round, he completely gassed out. He didn't have much left, and that's because he throws 120% into every single strike he throws, and that's just kind of how he fights. But either way, this fight's going to finish. Yanez has never been knocked out. But if someone's going to do it, it's going to be Randy Costa for sure. So we'll have some Randy Costa, 7,200. I do like him as a pump play because really there's not much down there. I mean, there's Elise Reed down there. I don't love it at all. Andre Yule down there. I don't love it at all. And really, that's about it. I mean, Holy and Paiva, I don't love it at all. So really, the only pump play that really sticks out to me is going to be the Randy Costa, as I do think he has finish upside and very early finish upside as well. And then the fade, yeah, I didn't really give a fade out last week. I put on my article that my fade was going to be Montserrat Ruiz, or at least she's going to be my lowest owned. There really wasn't a fade I really stuck out on last week's slate. You know, kind of same thing with this fight card. Not really any fade really like sticks out, especially in that top range. I kind of think everyone's in play. I didn't really talk about Julio Arce. I'm not going to have much of him, but Hannah Goldie, 8,300, just in a fight that I don't expect to score all that well. If it does score well, I kind of expect it to be more from the Belbita side. She does have a 20% finish rate, 20% by knockout, one knockout on her record. Belbita's never been knocked out. If Goldie does win, it's going to be a very low volume affair, probably not scoring well at all. So if I had to pick a one fade, it would be Hannah Goldie, but other than that, not really any fades do stick out. So I'll go with Goldie for my fade. Not going to have much of her, and if any at all. In that first fight in general, not going to have much of it. If anything, I will have some Belbita though. And that's about it. Just want to remind you guys, as always, it's always a great time to become a member of the Patreon and receive full access to my model. There you get the advanced stats courtesy of Uncle Weezy. Also, he does a matchup template as well, which is awesome. You get the premium projections, the lineup optimizer that people really do seem to like there. Tons of value added to the package there. GPP lineup percentages, the Draftkings article, and access to Discord, and much, much more. $10 a month. The link is in the description below. Have over 324 members right now. I think we're getting really close to a record there. So if you want to sign up, do appreciate that. It really does help me. Really does help support me as well. If not, if you can leave a like on the video, support me there. That's much, much appreciated. Also, subscribe to the channel. That'd be much, much appreciated as well. Tune into my live stream Friday, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, and on Saturday, 1 hour prior to the prelims. Good luck for UFC Vegas 32. Let's make some money, and yeah, talk to you guys soon. See ya.